In this video, we're going to begin to turn my office into a fish room. Let me show you what I mean. So here's my office and desk where I normally edit all the videos, but what you guys always see is this side of the room over here. And this is where I've got my fish tanks currently, minus the 75-gallon and the 10-gallon guppy tank that the wife has in the living room. But this is what you guys normally see. And it's just kind of cramped. As you can see, everything's down low. I have to like sit down on the floor here in order to do anything. And with these old knees, it's just getting hard to do that. So we've got a solution. This guy right here. So we bought a shelving unit off of the old Amazon, link in description if you like it. And we're gonna put that stand here, and it's gonna go up, replace the shelf here, and we're gonna have a lot of space to put these tanks and add more. And then this stand here is gonna go over here for like storage and things like that, so that we can get our buckets out of the way and we can get our, you know, stuff that I use all the time and shrimp food and things like that. Storage items like all of this down here. And we're just gonna clean this room up. So this will be the fish corner essentially as we progress. And this is the office/fish room mod. So I've already got the tank lights unplugged as you can see, and I'm ready to do this. So if you wanna see how I set this up and follow along, keep on watching. All right, step one, we're gonna have to get this shelf built. I was gonna drain all the tanks first, but then I decided, you know what? We probably should build the shelf first so that once we get the tanks drained, we can move them onto the new shelf and the fish will be in a low water situation, as little as possible, and we can just get them on the shelf and then we can start refilling them. So, shelf build coming up. I'm not gonna time lapse this. I was going to, but that's boring stuff. I'm gonna build the shelf and I'll show you what it looks like when we're done. All right, we got them installed here, or the shelves are built, rather. Now, they're pretty tall, so I can't get them all in one camera shot here. Sorry about that, but let me show you how these shelves are set up. You've probably seen them before. You just have these rails here that you can adjust the height wherever you would like to put them, because they just have this little notch system in the back of each of the rails, or the feet, or the legs, whatever. You understand. And then these shelves, they just sit in there, right? So that's how that goes. Sorry for the headphone users there. All right, we got this all installed, and there's a method to my madness. So let's start at the bottom here. I've got the bottom shelf set up so that I can get my buckets and stuff underneath here. This is also important, the buckets for the top shelf, I'll show you in a minute. The next shelf up here, I've got for my supplies really, you know, put my food and my lily pipes and whatever extra stuff I'm not using that I've been throwing all over the place. Now I have somewhere I can actually put it. The next shelf up, careful with the water. The next shelf up is gonna be for my little plant, my floating plant grow out tubs here. And I want to put those up on the shelf because they need more light. I tried the window, it's just not working out, they're dying. So I need to get some lighting under here, and we'll put these under here. They fit good, I can still get my hands in there to mess around, so that should work out. This shelf here is where the 10 gallons are gonna go. They have enough height here, it's the biggest height, that's where the 10 gallons are gonna go. And they fit nicely. If I grab my chair here, if I'm sitting down, I'm right at eye level for the 10 gallons, so that's good. Moving up higher, we've got the 5 gallons are gonna go up here. Now if I stand up, the 5 gallons are right at eye level, so that's kind of cool. I don't mess with the shrimp tanks too much, that's what's in the 5 gallons there. So they're gonna be really nice up here. And then way up top, if you take this bucket and you're doing your water changes, you can put your bucket up there. If you got enough gusto to get it up there, I don't even know if I do. But then you can gravity fill all of your tanks. Makes life much easier when you're doing your water changes. Each of these shelves holds 410 pounds as well, so it's a total of 2,050 pounds of weight. I should be good to go. 10 gallons at 8, I think it's 8 pounds per gallon, so it's 80 pounds per 10 gallon tank. So we're well within the weight limit. These shelves have 5 ribs underneath them too, so it's not, I mean, it's thin sheet metal, but at least it's got kind of stability ribs there. So that should help us out. I don't think they're gonna fall down. So that's what we got going on. Now I'm gonna take the tanks here and drain them down so I can move them, reduce the weight. take everything off the shelf that's back there, move it over here, put this shelf back against the wall, and put everything on here, and then I'll be back to show you, because you don't need to see me just moving everything a which way, and that's boring. So we'll be back when we got everything on these shelves. Alright, update for you guys. I got the 2 5-gallons up there. These are the shrimp tanks, and we redid our lily pipes, which I am super happy about, because they're, I don't know, they're better this way. They should go along the length of the tank. I had them the other direction. You can see we got our piping there in the back. You know, not the most inconspicuous for our 2 sea-free filters. I love these filters, by the way. If you haven't seen the video on these guys, go find the free sea videos down in my channel list. At any rate, I think I've got the piping kind of as uniform and neat looking as possible. We had to switch from the silicone stuff here because it kinks when you do a hard bend. So while I do like the silicone, it was not functional. We had to go with the, what is this, PVC? Or no, it's not PVC, but the harder plastic hosing. I don't remember what they call it. Anyway, you can see we've got RO water over here for the Caridina shrimp, and the Neocaridinas are on tap water that's dechlorinated, and we have our drip system in place. This is what I was talking about with that top shelf. So much nicer than the way I had to do it before by putting it like on a bucket, on a table, or whatever. This is awesome. The buckets are up high. I can refill any of the tanks. We're doing a very slow drip, as you can see, because we're dealing with shrimp. So shrimp, they like to be very small changes, if any changes at all. So you got to be careful. You don't just want to dump a bunch of water in. Anyway, moving on, let's get the 10 gallons in here, and we've got to rig up our power strip. Let me show you this real quick. I've upgraded to a big old giant power strip. It even has USB power outlets. So, you know, if I ever get like a little USB nanolight or something, we've got room to plug all that stuff in. So definitely have enough outlets now. Instead of just one power strip, we've got essentially 2 in 1. So I'm gonna get this rigged up, I don't know, somewhere centrally located. Then we'll get the 10 gallons in right here. Oh yeah, it's coming together now. We got the 10 gallons in there. I think it's looking much better. Kind of just have the tanks all squared up there. Now for the bottom, the next step here, as I mentioned, I'm gonna be putting like these grow out tubs for floater plants in here, but we're going to need some light. So I've got these guys that came off of the 75-gallon aquarium. I think it's an Aquarium, but no, it's not. It's a Marine Land. But the Marine Land 75-gallon comes with these 2 LED strips, and it has some clips here. Let me get the clips. There's the little clips that kind of hold it to the front of the tank. So I took those clips off, and what I'm gonna do is mount them under here. And the way I'm gonna do that is with this here hot glue gun. So I'm gonna take this little hot glue gun here, and up under here you can see the rails. Maybe, can I get a light on? I can't get a light. I got this light, I'll go ahead and plug that in. Whoop, that's blue. All right, there we go. So under here you'll see we've got these rails, and I'm gonna put some hot glue on these rails here, and I'm just gonna take this light, pardon the brightness on the camera there, and I'm just gonna stick them up there. And as you see, it should give us some decent light. So I'm gonna get that rigged up and then show you what it looks like. Ah man, that looks good. So here's our floating plant grow out tubs, and under here we've got our LED lights. It's got a little blue, so the blue light is always on. You might be able to see that in the reflection. So it's not an RGB, but it should be like a 65K or 6500K white light. We'll see how it goes, you know. If it doesn't work out, I've got other ideas. I would like to eventually just put one big strip light across the entire top here, and I'll probably do that. But for now, we have individual lights, which you can barely see on camera. We have individual lights right now. That's gonna work for a minute. Anyway, that's pretty clean if I do say so myself. All right, I'm gonna get the lights on. I'm gonna get the pumps going. I'm gonna just finish this thing up, get it all organized, and then we'll be back for some final shots. All right, guys, we got the room all set up here. What do you think? I think it looks much better. Should be better for some filming as well. A little bit more organized and a better backdrop here. Now, it is still my office, so I got like my clubs and stuff over here. Nothing I can do about that. It's a pretty small room. But let's go over the stand real quick for you. Up top, as you saw here, we've got our 2 shrimp tanks. Both of them are 5 gallons. We got our Iwagumi here, and it has some yellow bee shrimp, but the Neocaridina version. Don't mind my cyanobacteria problem there. We won't discuss that. But this tank didn't have a Hygger light on it or an RGB light. It just had 3 little LED lights or 4 little LEDs under the cabinet when it was in this position here. It just had like those little lights right there. So it was growing and filling in, but hopefully with an RGB light, it'll fill in a lot quicker. It's been about a month and it hasn't really filled into my liking. Next to it here, this is our orange-eyed blue tiger tank. I named it Moss Hill, but it's kind of a cliff setup if you're new to the channel. These are my orange-eyed blue tigers. Well, there's 2 of them there. They're kind of hard to see. There's more there. There's a buried one right there. Yeah, a little buried girl. 2 buried girls all hanging out together there. But that little 5-gallon is all set up. Down below it here is our 10-gallon grow out tank here, and that's just for plant sales. I did a video on it, how to package plants for sale to your local fish store or online. If you want to see that video, I think it's right below this one, or maybe 2 down from here. And then we have our, what is this, a Wallstad, that's what it is. We've got our Wallstad here, and for those that haven't seen it, this is quite an adventure. This tank has been going for about 5 weeks. And it doesn't have a light on it, so it's pretty hard to see right now for those that have not seen this tank. But we've got some Endler guppies in there. For those that do follow the channel, I actually have a bunch of females in there, but they're all hiding, so you won't be able to see them. But we did add 12 females, so we should get some breeding going on. Now, the reason this doesn't have a light is because I'm going to put one of these newer Hygger lights on there. It's a little bit higher wattage than these clip-ons here, and I got one to test it out for this grow tank. And what I like about it is that over here it's got its own little controller, so you can tell it when to turn on, when to turn off, when to turn back on, all that kind of stuff, fully customizable. And I have it set on a 2-cycle system, so 2 on and 2 off cycles per 24 hours. So we'll see how that works out with the plants. But that's why we don't have a light here, because I stole the light from here and I put it on this tank that, again, used to be down in that hole, and it didn't have a light. So I think it looks better to have matching lights up there. We're going to put matching lights down here. Moving on, you guys have seen this one here. I'm really happy with this kind of floating plant grow out system I got here. Really happy with this under cabinet lighting or under shelf lighting there. We are definitely going to be doing some undershelf lighting in the future to streamline this whole operation. And then finally, just my supplies here. You can see I've got some extra lily pipes, a couple of little diffusers in case one stops working or breaks. And then I've got my supplies for packaging plants for the grow out tank. Now you can see here that I did get my power strip mounted, and I ran the cables over as neat as I could. You can see them behind the or against the wall here, but up here you can't, and that is because I ran cable ties kind of down both sides and tried to straighten it up and make it as neat as possible on both sides here. There's our CO2 system, which needs to be recharged, but yeah, just kind of tried to keep it clean and keep the cables out of the way so everything's nice and neat. And finally, for now, we've got just kind of a little storage area going on for our food and some aquarium supplies and like filters and sponges and stuff in there. Our hoses down on the bottom. We will be putting tanks back on this stand at some point, but I got to get maybe another little rack over here to store stuff. I don't know. But there we go, guys. What do you think? The new rack. And just like that, half of the office is now dedicated fish room. Well, minus my golf clubs, they're still in the corner. But I'm really happy with the racking system. I think it looks great. It's got more capacity than I really need for the tanks that are on there. It helped me get my stuff organized. We have a dedicated little storage space over here, though we'll probably put tanks back on it in the future. But I'm just really happy to be able to set a camera up and not have to worry about what is to the left or right of the camera. You wouldn't believe how many times I had to move stuff from one side of the room to the other side of the room, get this thing out of the way, get that thing out of the way for this camera shot, now move it back over here so I can do this camera shot. Ah, man, it's so much nicer now to just have a dedicated space to film fish content. As well, as far as this fish content, we have 2 other tanks. But I'm glad that you guys have followed the video all the way here to this point, if you did. And maybe it gave you some ideas about your space. If you can't go out like me, you're running out of space in your small room, try going up. The racking system, I think, is a little overpriced for what it is. But I liked this style, and that's the one that I wanted to go with, and so that's the one I got. Now, you can click my affiliate link if you want to, which will take you to this rack if you want it. And if you don't want this one, you can click like others once you get there, and you can see other racks that are similar. Maybe it'll fit your space better. I wanted this one because of the width dimension. You can't see my hands. The width dimension. It fit my wall perfectly, and that's why I wanted this rack, even though it was a little pricier than I think it should be. But I do appreciate your guys' support as always. You guys are killing it on the channel, and if you want to keep supporting me and you're new here, you know what little buttons to hit to help me out. Until then, if you want to see any of these tanks in more detail because you're new here, you can click like this video over here, or maybe this video over here. I'll put some interesting stuff up for you. I do appreciate it. I will catch you guys on the next one. Phew, that was only the 9th time filming that outro.